preach and live quantum writing, and sometimes people don't know what I mean by that. So today I'm going to start reading from one of my books called Famous Famous. These are a collage of my journal entries, my real life, my make-believe world, and a place that I imagine where I will find everything I've ever wanted. It's a place, a source for me to go to. So I'm going to share this because sometimes people don't know what I mean. This is available on Amazon, but I'm going to read it to you if you don't want to buy a copy of it. It's when I first began doing my own publishing, so there are some interesting little things in here that I see now that I've been doing this professionally for so long that I would have corrected had I hired myself. So we may get a second edition, but I'm going to start reading now. So just before we'll do this, I want to give a brief overview of quantum writing. It's writing a story of only what you do want. So if we had some kind of Freaky Friday incident, we woke up in this story, how would we feel? We want it to be amazing, where there's nothing we would want to edit. There would be nothing we would complain about. And ultimately, we're building a muscle to be happy in the now, to be content in the now, to be filled with joy in the now, be filled with bliss in the now, and to continue to climb that emotional scale in the now. Even when my son died, even when I got sober, even when I was facing 300 pounds and needed to lose a significant amount of my weight for my health, this is what I used. Different stories like this. So I wrote this one during a time where I woke up one day feeling very little will to be present on this earth any longer. My son was still alive. It was very challenging to care for him. And I believe probably the term would be overwhelmed and very depressed. My son has passed since then. I used this again when it happened. When he passed, I used quantum writing to write a story I would want. I can't change what's happening with anyone else. I can't bring him back to life. I can't change how other people behave. I can't change how often my kids come to visit me. But what I can change is where I spend my time, in what story, in what vibration, and at what energy and what emotion. All right, so I'm going to go here. I'll try to be quick. So famous, my story. One more side note. I'm very, very in tune with music. So there's a lot of references to songs in here. It's not about the music, but if you wanted to follow along, I do have the list of songs that I used at the end. So the first song that I'm talking about is by Drake White. It's called Waiting for the Whiskey to Work, which is ironic since I'm very sober. All right, famous, my story. If our song comes on, we dance to it. And he does not care when or where this occurs. We've danced to it in restaurants between the salad and the main course. I think he would get away with this even if no one had ever heard of him. He doesn't care. We dance. We danced to it on the side of Highway 88 while his crew waited for us to finish. They're used to us. I've joined him mid-shower with his phone propped on my towel playing this song. If it comes on, he will find me, and I will fall in love with him all over again. On the red carpet or the back 40, if this song comes on, we dance. It feels like home, bellied up here. It's as a good place as any to disappear. Those are lines from Drake White. If you want to listen along to the soundtrack of my love life, the song list is listed in the back. It's not necessary. It was never about the songs. It was only about my feelings. We've made the most passionate love to this song. He's danced my ass from washing dishes right onto the table for those mid-afternoon primal ravishings. We've stopped mid-argument, per our original agreement, made after the very first fight, to dance to this song, and then disagreements become an easy conversation. Perspective becomes easy in those 3 minutes and 16 seconds, starting with the most definitive guitar twang. Can you hold me? Can we make love before we discuss this? The answer is always yes. The hard decisions about who moves where becomes easy. This is something about us and music. When he's not near me, I take my hands off the keyboard at the first strum of that guitar. Pause what I'm doing and dance wherever I am. I'm instantly grateful for my partner, our connection, and our magical life. I've danced alone around the living room and felt his arms as if he were there. I'm most often brought to tears of gratitude in these moments. We co-created the most magical love story of all time, our own quantum love affair. Neon smoke rings and pool balls click, and a tattooed ruby in her red lipstick. Lyrics. My life has been a magical example of designing the exact life I want. I still giggle with delight when I see something I created in public. The first time I saw the cover of my book, A Line, in the background of a Christmas special, I cried joyfully, alone in the kitchen. I was standing at the infamous island of ideas, overcome with happiness. During an interview, I cried seeing my creation sitting on a bookshelf behind a friend named Kenya. I learned a lot of lessons while creating that book. I lost a lot of money due to a misalignment with business partners. Still, I was overcome with beautiful pride. I have forgotten all the icky parts. I simply love the book. I love all of them. I saw my friend Christina filming herself opening my Quantum Writing 300 book on her Facebook. I cried even before her package was open. I knew what I was about to see. The photos I received today of someone holding their copy made me just as happy as the first time I saw this. I happy cry a lot these days. I'm sure to keep the best tissues around, as it's much easier than attempting to stop the flow of bliss from these eyes. I see my name on many things now, and I'm always amazed. I'm famous, not supermodel or superstar famous, more like a bright light. It's all I've ever wanted to be, my own brightness, and then even more. I've always wanted this. I had not dared to obtain it in the past. I had not even dared to ask for it. I was famous long before I knew anyone in the room with me now. I became famously me the day I decided to shine. Excuse me. I remember the day I pulled a card from my friend Dallin's I Am deck. It read, I am famous. This was just after seeing myself on a red carpet for a positive impact during a meditation. The card said, I am famous. I am seen and known for my light. People I don't know are aware of me, and I am positively impacting the world. It was the same message I received recently from my friends Scott and Buttercup. I thank them both just now for sharing those words of encouragement with me then. I did Dallin's recommended yoga pose while repeating I am famous for 2 minutes. I allowed those feelings to build inside of me. It was powerful. I could see that I was the only thing that could stop me. I was free to succeed. Now it's safe to say I am famous. Famous because I created the perfect job and designed a life for myself through writing. I remember sitting down to create my dream life. My son was alive then, and staying home with him was my number one priority. I built everything else on this list around him. Good morning, everyone who's watching. Yes, I'm reading my book, Famous, Kim, in case you're wondering. Oh, there we go. In case you're wondering. Just chapter 1. So here was my list of what I wanted in my life. Remain authentically me, dress like a princess once a month or more, walk barefoot and naked around my entire home whenever I desire, be surrounded by nature's beauty, experience the sunset and sunrise daily, access to a body of water, forest, wildlife, and a bird sanctuary, live on land I can safely explore, room to serve other peoples, other families, create a life of sanctuary and privacy as I choose, hold dinners for 12 or more with weekly active conversations around the fire pit, feed more bodies, mind, and soul than the day before. Find the miracles and write about them. Increase my abundance by serving and feeding others. Be an example of growth and trust. Live where my son and I can medicate as needed. Live in absolute full feminine expression. Be a model for those who want to use writing to make life easier. Experience a quantum love, intimate relationship, body, mind, and soul, and have incredible and ever-improving sex. This was my list. I want to just say as a side note, when I wrote this list, I didn't own a home. I was living in my RV. I had sold everything in a runaway from my life moment, and I was in the transitional phase between where I was and where I was going. And it was feeling very uncertain. So I wrote this list rather than my first question was, how am I going to find another job that lets me stay home with my son? What a poor question that was. So I began the quantum writing and wrote what I really wanted. And that list encompassed what I really wanted. However, back to the book. When I first did the exercise, I broke the only rule. I asked, how can I possibly get, do, or have these things? Insert a loud buzzer sound. Don't do this. Do not attempt to answer the how at this point in make-believe. Focus exclusively on what we do want. Write another story, a better story, right then, right there. I decided to succeed. I've done the impossible many, many times before. I raised an impossible amount of money in the early 1990s while unemployed with 2 babies. I needed my son to go to a specialist, and I decided to fund it by asking everyone in a nearby city to buy a cookie and donate 2 cents. If everyone has given 2 cents, I would have had enough. As it turned out, I didn't need the whole town. Many people gave more. Some people went into the store and bought cookies for me to sell to raise even more money. Hayden got to go to the specialist and live 27 more years because of this visit. I learned about true nutrition, body, mind, and soul from the impossible. Can I do this? Abso-freaking-lutely. Chapter 2. We'll save that one for tomorrow. If you want a copy, it's Famous. I will say this is one of my first publishing. I've now helped over 1,000 authors on their self-publishing journey, but this is one of my first one. I used a stock cover. There are some formatting issues in here. I'm looking forward to do a second edition, so I'm not encouraging you to buy the book, although this is a special one for me if you decide that you want, and it's an easy read. It's a great example of how I use quantum writing, which is simply a way of retraining the muscles in your brain to only look for what we do want. We have so much muscle memory about what we don't want. And it's a way writing will help you grade that and help you la 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 la. It will help you assess how positive you tend to stay. We do this exercise out here a lot. I'll say to someone, tell me what you want in your new position, your new relationship, your new body, whatever it is. And they'll say, well, I know I don't want that person. I'm like, well, but you're not telling me what you do want. Oh, right, right, right. Stay positive. Okay. Well, he better not be this. He better not be that. See, that's again, we're not what we want. We're tuning into what we don't want. If you tune the radio channel to a channel you don't want to hear, guess what will happen? You'll hear it. And it happens that way energetically too. So that is the reason I do encourage people to read quantum writing. And I'm going to read this one chapter a day. So this was chapter 1. Thank you for everyone who tuned in. I'll come back in the morning and we'll do chapter 2. It's just, again, to give everyone an example of what quantum writing really looks like. And I will tell you now, since I wrote this several years ago, my son passed. I have remained authentically me. I do dress like a princess. You might see me mowing my yard on a zero turn in a prom dress. I live on a campground, so uniform is very casual, and I purposely like to dress up as a princess every now and again. I do walk barefoot and around my entire home and my entire property, especially when I'm here by myself. I am surrounded in every direction, 360 degrees by nature's beauty. Anywhere you look on this property is astonishing. I didn't even know this kind of place existed when I wrote this. I really thought I was making it up in my head. I have access to a large body of water right there. I can be in a kayak in about 14 seconds. I have forest, I have wildlife, I have a bird sanctuary, lots of big birds on the water. I live on land I can safely explore. I have room to serve other peoples and families. I have created a life of sanctuary and privacy. I was able to grieve here at the highest frequency because I had everything on this wellness space that I needed. But I created this after I wrote this book. And with great ease, I might tell you, because I got so clear that when I saw it, it was like a neon light saying, this is where you want to go. I'd never even heard of this little town that I live in. I do hold dinners for 12 or more, but not weekly yet. But I've had large parties out here. I've had up to 47 people out here. Our premium number is about 20, but we can definitely hold more, especially when we have campers. I feed more bodies, mind, and soul than the day before. Just 2 weeks ago, when the SNAP situation happened that first weekend, we fed 845 meals out of a cabin that we haven't finished out here, and I spent $105. $105 turned into 845 meals because my community came together and supported my vision. Find the miracles and write about them. Ooh, I do that every day. That jazzes me up, tunes me in, it turns me on. I love to write about the miracles that I see. Increase my abundance by serving and feeding others. Technically, I never went back to work. I helped 1,000 authors publish their books because I love them and I love their stories. I help host retreats out here and I cook for the people and I make sure that they have a positive impact while they're here and positive proximity. And I do that because I love it. It doesn't feel like work. So I still think I retired a few years ago. I am an example of growth and trust. I believe that. That's up to other people, but I do believe that anyone who's watched my journey over the last several years has seen that I'm going to do what I say. I'm going to trust myself to follow what I say. Live where my son and I can medicate as needed. Up until the day he died, I was able to treat him the way I felt was the most important for his spirit. Live in absolute full feminine expression. I do. Even when I'm out here slamming T-pose to put fences up, I'm still in my absolute feminine expression. And because of that, I stop when I want to be stopped. I don't work myself to the point of exhaustion or overwhelm any longer. That's my full feminine. A model for those to use writing to make a life easier. I don't even know how many people have come through here and done quantum writing experience, from losing a child to medical diagnosis to having to understand where they fit into a toxic relationship to making changes in a career. I get to help people with this on a regular basis, and I do believe that I'm a model for them and how I do it. Experience a quantum love, intimate relationships, body, mind, and soul. Right now, that's with me. I'm madly in love with myself, and it's made being quote, single as such an incredible place. So when I wrote this years ago, I had a sense of loneliness that was trying to come through, and that's not a preferred emotion for me. So I wrote this story, and this story brought my tuning up high enough to be able to see above all the blockades, because here we are going, oh, I don't feel good, I don't feel good. And then when I brought myself up emotionally in the scale, I was able to see the path here. This place. I could see it so clearly, and it happened very easily. Not that I didn't have to put work in, but it was easily. Okay, that's it. So I've accomplished everything on my list. Since then, I've written much bigger, much deeper, much more expansive lists because I understand now I'm continually creating the life that I live in. All right, famous, famous. I'll read again tomorrow. Thank you for everyone who stayed on. Misty Lee at Campground TBD and my favorite nonprofit, haydensray.org, where we help people find their happy again, one person at a time. Love you. Have a beautiful day. Thanks for watching. Now I remember I don't know how to turn this off. Oopsie daisy. I'll be hanging up anytime now, just any old time now. I'll be hanging up. Oh, boy. Oh, I'm still here. My goodness. Okay, well, I'm going to push some X's. Thanks for hanging out. I think I'm going to, well, here we go. Now you have a view of my beautiful property while I figured this out.